Let's compare temperature and absolute temperature. Topic 3. They like to ask lots of technical definition questions and expect you to use these words very precisely. They can ask you about heat or potential versus kinetic energy at a microscopic or a macroscopic scale. They also ask you about temperature. So temperature is a measure of average kinetic energy per particle. Absolute temperature is specifically proportional to average kinetic energy per particle. So we can measure temperature in a variety of different ways. Let's see how we can get between temperature and absolute temperature. You might measure regular temperature in degrees Celsius. So let's suppose you were plotting a graph of, say, temperature against pressure for something at a fixed volume. So you might get a graph something like that. So there's a strong positive correlation. Let's try and get that a little bit straighter there. Strong positive correlation. There's a linear relation between them, but they're not proportional because it doesn't go through the origin. That's because we measured temperature in degrees Celsius. So maybe, depending on the technology at the time, if we're talking historically here, you might get down to sort of there-ish. But we could also extrapolate. Continue this line down here, see where it hits the t-axis. It turns out if you do that, it hits at -273 Celsius. So why not just call that absolute zero? And then they are proportional. Then pressure is proportional to temperature for a fixed volume. In that case, we'd want absolute temperature, of course, to be have a simple linear relation to temperature in degrees Celsius, and it's just the same thing, only you add 273. Let's just check that. That doesn't say okay, that says 0 Kelvin, of course. So 0 Kelvin is the lowest temperature, can't go below that. Theoretically, when the particles exert 0 pressure, they would also occupy 0 volume, of course. So 0 pressure, according to this graph, they're simply not moving at all. They have no kinetic energy at all. At 0 Celsius, that's 273 Kelvin. So the number in Kelvin is always 273, greater than the number in Celsius. Celsius, of course, is just assigns fixed points to the freezing point and the boiling point of water at regular pressure. Regular atmospheric pressure, and just divides it in between by 100, so it's centigrade. So Kelvin adopts the size of 1 Celsius, but it just shifts the 0 setting point, the 0, so that it can never go negative. So absolute temperature there, how to get there from temperature.